welcome to our very first episode of Let's Talk Tinta. And we have the privilege right here to have one of our badass artists that works at a shop called Toda Madre Tattoos. And this is our boy Aaron. And I'd like you guys to meet him. And we're going to talk a little bit about his career, where tattooing's been going, and yeah, a little bit about his life. All right, everyone, welcome Aaron.
Man, I totally thought you were going to say it's our token white boy here at the shop. I feel like that's a missed opportunity right there.
It's our first episode, so I'm trying to, pave the way a little bit to where, I'm trying to take this.
It's all good. It's about time. We got it rolling.
We got it rolling. Took it a couple months. But overall, it's definitely something that we've been talking about for a couple months. And I'm happy you're here as my first guest. So give us a little bit about you. What's your name? How many years you've been tattooing? And what's your specialty?
Well, so I'm Aaron. I've been tattooing for 18 years now. I'm from Vegas, and I pretty much do a lot of everything, man. Everything but traditional. I mean, I can copy it, but my brain don't work like that. So mainly I do a lot of realism, black and gray or color. Cover-ups is one of my specialties. I love doing evil shit, and
Hell yeah. So give us a little bit of a picture on why you got into tattooing and what's the importance of you tattooing, being a tattoo artist now.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember wanting to be a tattoo artist like as far as like 8 years old. I don't remember what movie it was specifically, but it was just some movie, and I was like, man, I want to do that. And my parents were like, what, you want to rob banks? And I was like, no, I want to do the tattoos. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. We'll talk to me when you're 18. And the dream just never left. I used to always get in trouble for fucking drawing sleeves on my arms in school and shit, all that. And haven't looked back since.
So when you got into tattooing, what was your approach? Did you just start tattooing like on skin, or did you like go through an apprenticeship?
Oh yeah, both. I started fucking up my friends and myself, and then got an apprenticeship and did it the right way as far as for that. Learned from a bunch of really badass, old school, mean motherfuckers, the traditional way to do it. Everything was always my fault, but, learning in Vegas on the Strip is so different than anywhere else because it's so go. And this was before all the casino shops, right? I think might have been one that opened up like in the middle of my apprenticeship, but back then there were only like 2 or 3 shops on Las Vegas Boulevard, and they were fucking popping all day long. So like my responsibilities was taking care of the whole shop, selling the tattoos for each individual artist because they were tattooing all day long. So I didn't know which artist would do what style for what price, and then cleaning every artist tubes, because this was before disposables really took off and cartridges and all that. So one artist would use they'd use like 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 different machines, and have 4 different tubes for every tattoo, and they do 10 to 20 tattoos a fucking day. And so like I was cleaning tubes probably like, I would say like 400 a day would be like modest.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, tattooing has definitely changed, and it's developed into this new stuff. And so my take is, when you're talking about your apprenticeship, what is your take on, do you still believe apprenticeship should be a thing in the tattoo industry?
100%. I mean, the fact that any imbecile thinks they can just order a machine, if you don't even call it that, off of Amazon, and think they can just like fuck shit up on their own at home, like, is completely asinine, because it's not just about putting ink in the skin. Like, right. It's not just tattooing. There's so many things that you need to be aware of, like medically, how to, the difference between sterile and sanitary, and how to keep them differentiated, and then also keep that throughout the process. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can absolutely fuck somebody up in a really bad way very quickly. So it's not just about like, oh, you need to do an apprenticeship to learn how to tattoo. No, anybody can fucking fuck somebody's skin up. Like, that's fine. But if you don't know the fundamentals about how to have a sanitary environment for yourself and for your clients, you know what I mean? You're doomed from the fucking start.
So there's a, we've been tattooing almost the same amount of time. And you've been working at my shop for, I want to say 3 years now.
Getting close.
Getting close to 3 years, right? And I like what you say about the difference from a Vegas shop to now shops. There's no metal tubes hardly ever at a shop. It's all disposables, you know. Do you believe a person can open a private studio and learn to tattoo in their private studios?
I mean, is it happening? Sure. But I mean, are they learning anything? I don't know about that, because the thing is when you are secluded by yourself, you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. You don't have anybody to tell you like, hey, like you're kind of fucking things up right now, or saying like, hey, like that's cool. When you work in a shop with other artists, you have like this camaraderie where it becomes this competition of just like, oh, he did a fucking rose like that, watch this one. And you know what I mean? And everybody pushes each other to go to a next level, where like when you're by yourself, like who the fuck is pushing you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so what's your take on old school artists that are like gatekeeping? Do you think that's a good approach?
Absolutely. Like there's a reason why tattooing has been like why we're gatekeeping. Like there's a reason for it, because like it's not meant for everybody to do. But unfortunately, it's one of those things, like it all started when the Ink Master shows came out. Like it's I've always said this, it's the biggest curse and blessing to ever happen to tattooing, because it brought tattooing into the homes of people who would never even consider to talk to me and you.
Right.
But it also brought tattooing into the homes of people who would never consider to talk to me and you. And then every asshole in the world thinks like, oh, I could do that. And it's like, yeah, cool, but the thing that people don't understand is like it doesn't really matter if you're a good artist or not. Like I know plenty of artists that can't draw to save their life but can tattoo their fucking ass off. And I know plenty of like really great, phenomenal artists that can't tattoo to save their fucking life.
That's funny. So
like that medium is, it's irrelevant as far as for like what your skill is, but there's definitely a thing that's like, do you have it or not? And most people don't. So it's one of those, it's a 50-50 on all of that.
So what do you consider yourself, a tattooer or a tattoo artist? Because some people, it's this thing where people say I'm a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And then there's the ones like you just said, the ones that hardly ever draw, but they can tattoo circles around these guys that are artists.
Yeah.
So what do you consider yourself?
I would definitely say I'm a tattoo artist. I mean, but at the same time, I'm a tattooer. You know what I mean? I'm both. I claim it both. I've been in this long enough to where, like, do I draw as much nowadays? Fuck no, man. I don't have the. I don't have the desire to, unless I'm like drawing for my clients and stuff like that. But I mean, like I do shit for myself every once in a while, but that's a very niche kind of, person who gets that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, like I've always been a tattooer because I've always been in street shops and all of that. But at the same time, like I've always been an artist too. Like since I could hold a pencil, I've been fucking drawing. So
so you worked here at Toda Madre Tattoos for 3 years almost.
Yeah.
What's your take on being in a tattoo studio and being in a tattoo shop? Because nowadays there's a lot of guys that can't handle the tattoo shops and they go and open their own tattoo studio because they want to have a little bit of more freedom, so forth.
I think it's fucking nonsense. You know what I mean? I think this whole idea of like why this scene has become so oversaturated over the years is because artists are hard to deal with. Like we are prima donnas. Everybody wants to do things their own fucking way. We don't like to be told what to do. That's why we got into this, is because we didn't want a boss. We didn't want to clock in at 9 to 5. However, what comes with that is everybody ends up burning a bridge somewhere and can't fucking work anywhere else. So the only thing they have to do is open up their own shit. But what they don't realize is the amount that comes out of the back end that they don't see. As an owner. This is why I have no desire to ever own my own shop because like I've managed shops before and it's nonsense. Like I have no desire to be an adult babysitter because that's essentially what it is. And the thing is like, I just want to show up, do my shit, go home. You know what I mean? Like there's so much like on that you take care of that I notice, because like I've been doing this, I know what to look at, but that, I know there's so many other artists that take it for granted. It's like, oh, why would I work for this percentage or that percentage or whatever, or why would I pay that much for booth rent? It's like, motherfucker, there's rent, there's a light bill, there's a fucking trash bill, there's, you know,
all sorts of stuff,
all these things that
right?
nobody thinks about when you're running it's running a fucking business. But at the same time, like you're running a business that also runs several other businesses, because we're all independent contractors, so we all do our own fucking thing anyways.
Right.
You know?
So, in the 18 years that you've been tattooing, what are the pros and the cons that you could think of, or that you could be like, that you're happy with what tattooing has given you, and things that tattooing has not given you yet, or haven't achieved?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a loaded question, right? I mean, like, you know my history pretty fucking well. So, I mean, I think one of the worst things, and I can't even say that I would blame tattooing specifically for this, but I mean, definitely like the drug habits. You know, I mean, it's when you're working in like street shops where everybody's part is, you know, like all the shops are right by bars, and, you know, the piercer's selling coke, like, you know what I mean? It's right in your face, and when you're making that kind of money, like, you know what I mean, you tend to party hard. So like I took that definitely very far for a very long time, and because I mean, we're going on almost 3 years clean now, and that was like the best thing that ever happened to me. But at the same time, like towards the end of that, like I had fell out of love with tattooing. Like and something that I thought I would never say was that like I didn't want to tattoo. I was literally only tattooing just to get my next fix or whatever.
Right.
And like just the love for it was gone. But you know, fortunately, like with getting sober and all that and getting cleaned up, you know, it reinvigorated that spark and the love that I have for this industry. And it's so different, you know. I mean, and to any like up and coming artists, that like the biggest like takeaway that I can say, like if you want to save your back, because that was one of the excuses that I used for so long, doing, you know, painkillers to heroin and all of that, was my fucking back hurt all the time. Eat right, go to the fucking gym, get some core strength, you know what I mean? And I laughed at motherfuckers like that, you know, for the longest time. I was just like, why would I waste my time fucking moving heavy shit? Like, nah, it's cool. But like I haven't had back problems in 3 years, and I had extreme back problems for, you know, the first 15 years of my career. So, you know.
So, talking about what you're saying about the lifestyle, right? Because it's a lifestyle. Being a tattooer or a tattoo artist is a lifestyle.
Yeah. Eat, sleep, drink, fucking everything, repeat tattooing.
Right.
It consumes us.
And within that lifestyle, there's definitely a bunch of stuff that where we build up that we're rock star, like, you know, that we have rock star mentalities, and we go to the tattoo conventions, and we think everybody and their mama knows us, and this and that can definitely get to
half the time they do, you know.
So our ego's definitely, you know, huge, right? Yeah. And yeah, that could get you into some troubles, right?
Well, and that's also what like the apprenticeship is for, is to beat the fucking ego out of you, because I know certainly like it beat the ego out of me. And then, you know, because that's the thing, is like you tear you down. The idea of the apprenticeship is to tear you down into nothing so that you can be built into something. Because when you're 18 years old starting an apprenticeship or whatever, like you think you know everything, and the truth of the matter is, and you figure this out as you get older, it's like you don't know shit. You don't know absolutely anything at all. So, you know.
Right. So, and so what is something that you would tell these youngsters? Because we get them here at the shop where they want to come in and get an apprenticeship, and you ask them, hey, have you looked at the shop? What style do we do? And most of the time they're just looking for that way. For that way in, right? Mm-hmm. For that. No, I'm just looking for a tattoo shop that gets me in.
No.
Well, our shop has where we do a lot of black and gray, realism, portraiture, script, a lot of that West Coast kind of vibe, right? Mm-hmm. We don't do a lot of, like you said, we don't do a lot of traditional artists, right? Yeah. Like traditional art or tattooing. And then this kid shows up and wants an apprenticeship. and shows up with a bunch of traditional pieces, and but he just wants his way in. What do you tell a kid like that is looking for an apprenticeship?
I mean, like in that specific instance, or really in any instance, like what it comes down to, what will get you in the door faster than anything else is building a rapport with that shop or with the artist that you want to learn from. And the easiest way to do that, and I mean, this has never been a secret as far as for like how to get into a tattoo shop, is like, you find an artist whose style that you like, that you want those style of tattoos, that you want to tattoo like that. You get tattooed by that artist, and you build a rapport with that artist. You start getting pieces from them, you start hanging out, and then like expressing your interest that you want to do this shows, you know, that you're getting tattooed and that you're interested, that you might be serious about this. Because chances are, if you're just walking in off the street, you don't know who the fuck you're talking to, you don't know what shop you're walking into, like, how are we supposed to take you seriously? Because you didn't do any research. You don't know anything about this industry and what we do. You're just wanting to be a part of something that you know nothing about. So, you know, if you're really serious about doing it, you find an artist that you like their style, you get tattooed by him, and then, I know I'm just repeating myself, but that's really what it comes down to, and that's going to give you the best opportunity. And you know, if you're, you know, like our kid, like he wasn't from here, but he had done his research and knew about our shop, so you know, that's why it worked out for him. But you know, he got lucky with that, you know. So it's like,
yeah. So now, in the 18 years that you've been tattooing, what are things that you see the industry, how it was 18 years ago to where it's leading to now?
Fucking soft. No, really though. I mean, like I said, like the guys that I learned from were some mean motherfuckers. I mean, the sweetest guys you'll ever know, but at the same time, like if you got on that bad side, like you know what I mean? Like there was no fucking around. There was no tolerance for bullshit. Like if you talked back, you got fucking smacked. You know what I mean? And it is, you know, you're a verbal punching bag, all that shit. And nowadays it's like everybody's so afraid to offend people, and it's like, this is an adult world. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why you have to be 18 years old to get a tattoo on your own, because this is a place for adults. And if you don't know how to fucking act like an adult, then this probably isn't the thing for you. You know, so like I don't know why this all decided to change. It's like, oh, you know, we need to get rid of the old ways and shit. It's like, no, like that was that way for a reason. Because the thing is, it's like not everybody is still, not everybody is in this new mindset of, oh, we gotta love everybody and respect everything and, you know, fucking pronouns and bullshit. Like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, because the fact of the matter is, there are still some mean, bad motherfuckers out there. And what are you gonna do when that mean, bad motherfucker comes in, gets his tattoo, and then doesn't want to fucking pay at the end? You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why, like, you have to have a certain level of fuck you to be a part of this. Right. Like, by all means, like, you know, anybody who's ever worked with me knows that I probably don't talk like this to my clients. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta have that used car salesman voice. Like, hey, how you doing? How can I help you out? But at the same time, like, you know, there's a level of patience where that shit goes down, and you start pissing me off. You're gonna start getting the real gritty version.
Because at the end of the day, this is what we live off, right? We have, if we don't tattoo, we don't eat.
Yeah.
So of course we have to also give our clients that nice customer service and appreciation that they're coming in, getting tattooed. And obviously you don't want to scare them right away, you know? And I think that's one of the biggest things that has changed from the old ways to the new ways, is that back in the day, it was scary to walk into a tattoo parlor, tattoo shop, right? Because everybody was on this, you know, talk right. If you want that big tattoo, but man up, right? And, but definitely has changed. And do you think social media has a big what's the word, influence to what tattooing is now?
Yeah. So I mean I fucking hate social media. I really do. If I didn't need it for business, I would not have it. I think it's absolute poison and toxic, and it's one of the things that's like, it's cool in a way because now you don't have to go pick up the magazines to see, you know, different tattoos from different areas. Like, I can just pick up my phone, open up Instagram, and I'm looking at some dude in some country that I don't know how to pronounce with a name that I would never even try, thinking like, holy fuck, this guy is killing shit, and I've never heard of him. You know what I mean? Where it's like, back in the day, you would go to the store like every month when the new tattoo magazine would come out or whatever, you know.
See who was featured.
Yeah, exactly. And that was how we learned about other artists, who was doing what and shit like that. And half the times, like, the tattoos that you saw in the magazines were fucking trash. And that's, you know, kind of still the same with the Instagram. Like, you look at like these celebrity tattooers and like, you look at the work and it's trash. And you're just like, how are you conning these fucking rich motherfuckers for these fucking half-ass shit tattoos? You know, and then the other problem is like Pinterest, right? Like, everybody comes in and they, oh yeah, can you do this? And it's like this fucking photoshopped micro tattoo on a finger, and you try to explain this to somebody of like why that doesn't work and why you can't do it. And that's also, you know, circling back to why you shouldn't open your own shit and learn at the same time, is because it's the old school dudes like me and you that are going to teach you what is doable and what's not. Because can we do it? Yes. But there's a reason why we don't do it. There's a reason why we're gatekeeping. There's a reason why we tell you, no, you cannot do it that small. Because the point of a tattoo is to look good for the rest of your life. Not just a year from now, not just 5 years from now, not 10 years from now, forever. And if it doesn't look good 10, 15, 20 years down the fucking road, well, then you failed.
So that's one of the things with, like, at least with some of the clients and some of my people that come and get tattooed by me, some be like, oh, can you go lighter? Because they say I tattoo a little too dark. You know, I always try to tell them, hey, I want this tattoo to look good in 10 years from now. I don't want you to look at it this year and it's a great tattoo, and then next summer it looks like crap, right? So that's one of the things that, you know, and that comes with the years of experience, because you can't, and there's a bunch of pages like on Instagram where they have the heel tattoo and then the fresh tattoo and then the heel tattoo, and then you look at them and some of them are a month old, and it's like, okay, show it to me in 6 years from now.
Yeah.
And you might never see that picture because it looks like crap.
Yeah.
Right. So, what's your take with, now that we're talking and we're getting into the subject of this, with this new micro tattooing, or these
bullshit,
like, these sticker tattoos, right?
I mean, it's just something to appease the masses. Like, it's not anything new. It's not anything original. Like, it's been around for fucking ever. And that's why you look at, like, the old dudes that are in their 80s and shit, and they got these little tattoos, and you look at it and you don't know what the fuck it is. Because back then, nobody really knew, you know, how things were going to heal over time. You know, that was part of that learning process. But I mean, it's been enough time from there to where, like, you know, when we came up into it, like, artists knew, like, okay, this is how the ink spreads over 10 years, over 20 years. And that's when we start, you know, things started changing, advising, you know, clients into getting the tattoo bigger than they might have initially thought. I think the biggest thing.
But there's a gray line there, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've never had somebody come back and say, oh, I wish I would have got this tattoo smaller. But you know how many times I've had somebody come and tell me, like, fuck, I wish I would have listened and done it bigger. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, I'll do it however you want, but I'm going to give you a warning. I'm going to tell you, like, hey, look, like, you know, and that's one of the things that, like, I miss about, like, the glory, I'm going to say glory days, but, you know, like, fuck, like, 10 years ago, like, we could turn tattoos down. You know, and then it's like now, because it's so oversaturated, like, if I tell you no, I just know you're going to the next shop down the street and you're going to get it fucked up by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. You know, so at the very least, like, what helps me sleep better at night is like, look, like, I'm going to tell you, like, hey, look, there's a chance that this isn't going to heal good. So I would recommend doing it bigger. Now, if you don't heed my warning, whatever, like, it's your body. You want to fuck it up, like, that's on you. But I told you what not to do. What is
an ideal? Now, glory days to the nowadays, right? What would be your ideal, like say your ideal way of tattooing to be?
If the science existed, the ideal way to tattoo somebody would be remove their body part and tattoo it in private.
So talking about that, what's your take with what's going on now with the with people getting put to sleep?
I mean, honestly, like I'm joking about that just because I fucking hate people. But the getting put to sleep thing, like, you know, everybody knows you got to earn this shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we know tattoos fucking hurt, but that's the thing is like, you earn that pride of I sat through this tattoo, and if you're too much of a bitch, well then I guess tattoos aren't for you. You know, that's the thing is like, it's mind over matter. It is how bad do you want it? And that's the thing too that's changed with that is like now, I mean, it's not super new, but it's a lot more prevalent now. Is like all these fucking idiot kids like going straight for their hands or their neck and have no other tattoos. So they can be walking around with a long sleeve shirt and they look like they're fucking slung back, but you see them at the fucking lake and they look like fucking clowns.
So,
you know what I mean?
We, you know, us have been tattooing a lot of years. Back in the day, those how we knew somebody was either a tattoo enthusiast or was a tattooer, you know, because they had their necks done, their hands done. And
they used to be reserved for us, you know what I mean? Or somebody who already had a bodysuit and there was no other room to do it. Because like that's how it started was like you had to get your shirt done before you could tattoo your arms.
Right.
And somewhere along the road, like that changed. Like I know I didn't even touch my forearms until I got signed off for my apprenticeship. And then that was the first thing I did. It was like, there's no fucking going back. Like we're going fucking forearm to, you know, all the way down to my hand. Because, you know, this was like all I knew that I wanted to do.
It's funny that you say that. So let's go back a little bit on the putting down. People, you know, get put down to get tattooed and, you know, go to sleep.
It's dumbest fucking thing.
Okay. If you had the money, would you do it?
Fuck
no.
No, absolutely not.
You're full on tatted. You still would not do it.
No, because I don't see the point of it, and not only that, but like the dangers of being put under for anesthesia.
Right,
like,
you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's already scary to go to get surgery.
Yeah, like there's still always a chance. Like you're not fucking waking up, and you know what? Like it took a long time for me to love and enjoy my life. So no thanks. Like there's no need for that risk. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, like I have zero desire to get any tattoos. So like even with the idea of like, oh, they could put you to sleep and you won't feel anything and you'll be suited, and I'm like, yeah, no, I you know, like honestly, I'm thinking about fucking removing all my tattoos because like, what's the point? You know, like now every asshole in the world has their neck and head tattooed. Like when I got it done, it meant stay the fuck away. Like now people just want to ask stupid goddamn questions.
But then it's again, we get these people coming into our shop on a regular basis where they want to come in and there's their first piece. They just turned 18 years old, like, you know, and that's the first piece they want to get is their hand done. Like you said, that's where we kind of like, if we don't do it, you know, the shop next door might do it.
I know, and that's
down the
where,
street, you know,
and that's where it's like I miss like the days of like being able to tell people no, because I knew that they could go into any other shop, and if they didn't have fully sleeves, I knew that they weren't getting their hands tattooed.
Well, when I first opened my tattoo shop, there was this like it was an unwritten law, but everybody stayed with the same minimum down the street. If there was shops down the street, they all had the same minimum. You know, no one did under the minimum. You know, and that seems to be a thing of the past now, because I mean now you got people in private studios tattooing for $50.
Right. Well,
you know, they don't have a big overhead. So they can do that. You know,
and that's a thing where like why gatekeeping was important for tattooing was because it kept everybody, you know, together in a sense. Where now it's like, you know, everybody just wants to do their own fucking thing, and it's like, hey, look, I get it. You know what I mean? You want to open your own private studio because, you know, you've been an artist for a long time and you have the clientele, and you just want to do that. Like, by all means, like there are.
But you said the magic words. You said the magic words. Yeah. If you've been doing this for a long time, go for it.
Yeah,
you know, go for it.
That's the thing. But if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you know what I mean? If you don't know shit about cross-contamination.
Well, I mean, you got guys nowadays that come into a shop, they do an apprenticeship, and they last a month and a half because they got yelled at, you know, got told to do push-ups, you know, some of the hazings that happen in tattoo parlors, right? In the tattoo shop world, right?
You know how many apprentices that I have had work under me and how many of them are still tattooing? I can't count the amount that have, you know, tried. There's one that's actually still tattooing, and he's a badass tattooer now, so I'm proud of that. But you know, like, I mean, that's the thing. Like if you aren't made for this industry, it will chew you up and spit you the fuck out. And, and there's a reason, like, for all of it. And you know, and that's the thing that, like, sometimes people don't understand is, like, if I tell you something, doesn't matter how I tell you, but if I tell you something, if I say something, it's with intention. And there's a reason behind it. Now, it's not always my responsibility to explain what that reason is to the apprentice.
Right.
But it is absolutely the apprentice's responsibility to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about and why it's important.
We also were in when we were, you know, barely getting into the tattoo world. I mean, hazing was a big thing in a tattoo shop, right?
Absolutely.
But there was I guess there was levels to the hazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some shops would take it overboard, and some, you know, don't like it. Like nowadays, people are like, oh no, I'm not gonna be an apprentice. I'm not gonna be someone's bitch. I'm not gonna go clean toilets, right? Yeah. But they don't see the reason behind that. Go clean the toilet. Go clean the bathroom. Yeah. What makes you think if you could do that right, then you're gonna do the same thing with your tattoo?
Yeah, right? Exactly. And it's you know, it's like the whole Mr. Miyagi thing: wax on, wax off. Like, it all applies to every part about what we do. And you know, honestly, you know, again, this just goes back to motherfuckers being soft. Because, like, for me, like, because that's the thing too. It's like, just because you came into the shop with your portfolio and we told you no, that didn't mean that you don't have what it takes. But it's also kind of like a test a little bit, is how do you do with somebody slamming the door in your face? Because I know the doors weren't open for me. You know what I mean? The doors were closed. I had to kick every fucking door down to get where I'm at. I had to fight. Is how bad do you want it? How bad, you know, because at the end of the day, if you think that you can live without tattooing, then you probably shouldn't be a tattooer. But if you fucking know that this is for you, you can't fucking live without doing this, like, then you should probably look more into it. You know what I mean? Right. Because that's how it is. That's how it was for me. Like, there was no way that I could see myself doing literally anything else. And
so something, you know, to finish this off, it's been a great episode. We just want to say thank you to the guys over at Toda Madre Tattoo for sponsoring this podcast. And it's our first episode, and I think we're going pretty good at this. You know, we're taking off. It's been a really great episode. Now, before we end this, what will you tell the young cats about tattooing, or what's your message to give these guys that want to become tattooers?
Don't.
Fair enough.
No, I mean, again, like, that's the thing, is like, if tattooing, like, actually fucking speaks to you, not because you watched a couple episodes of Ink Master or fucking whatever, because that's the thing, is like, everybody watches one episode and they think they know what tattooing is. Get tattoos. Find an artist that you like their style. Don't just walk into shops and be like, oh, can you do this tattoo? Like, no, do your fucking research. Like, especially nowadays, like, everything is out there, because it didn't used to be. And that was the thing, is like, you know, the only way to see somebody's work was to walk into the shop and look at their portfolio. People don't even look at portfolios anymore.
They do not. That is like, so mind-blowing to me that people just walk into shops. And those are things this is the reason behind my podcast, right? The Let's Talk Tinta. Because it's like, there's a lot of stuff that nowadays are not being told, you know, that's one big one. Walk into a tattoo shop, check out portfolios.
Yeah, or look up them on fucking Instagram, whatever. But, like, do your research. Find the style of art that you want, and that you want to do and get tattooed by that motherfucker. Start a rapport with that person, and then like figure out if you even like getting tattooed. You know what I mean? Like if getting tattooed is boring to you, then you probably shouldn't fucking do tattoos, but you should be excited and wanting to watch what the fuck they're doing. So, and if you have those qualities, like, you know, then tattooing might be for you. I'm not going to say that it is, because again, like, it's more than just having the ability to do art, because back to what I was saying in the beginning, I know some badass artists who couldn't fucking tattoo to save their goddamn lives, but I know some really badass tattooers that can draw worth the shit, but can tattoo fucking their ass off, you know?
So at the beginning of the episode, I gave you an introduction, you know, and I can never pronounce your last name, so that's why I just said Aaron. You know,
it's cool.
But give us your full. You give us your name. What's your Instagram? How can people look you up? And what's like the way you book your appointments?
Yeah, it's Aaron Sewl Tattoos, and that's Sewl, Aaron, of course. And the easiest way to book an appointment with me or whatever is to just stop by the shop. You know, I'm here every day except for Mondays and Tuesdays from 12 to 7, and then Sundays 12 to 5. That's the easiest way. You can always shoot me a DM on Instagram, but chances are I'm going to tell you that you need to come in for a consultation, because trying to do a consultation over messages I don't think people quite understand like what actually goes into like the process of doing a tattoo. Like, number one, I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't know how big you are. I don't know what the area of your body you want to put it in. You know what I mean? Like you could have like a twig for an arm, and then like the tattoo's this big, or you could have like massive arms and the tattoo's like that big. And so like in order for me to give you an accurate price, like I have to see where it's going, and then also being able to talk with that person one-on-one is just a lot easier in person about like the design aspects, what works, what doesn't work, you know, how open they are to change, and you know, or it has to be exactly the same, all of that. Like it's really fucking hard to do over messages. So the best way, just stop by the shop.
Awesome. You know? Well, thank you for having being here as my first guest. And he told me if he wasn't the first guest, I was gonna be in the desert somewhere. So that's why he's here.
I mean, pretty much. Like, I've been here longer than everybody else, so I'd have been pretty fucking salty and offended if you put somebody else ahead of me, motherfucker.
And thank you guys all for watching this. Let's Talk Tinta, and then we're gonna have our episodes every week, and then you guys can look us up on YouTube, and our Instagram is ATM Tattoos. And see you guys on the next one. Thank you.
Peace.